This is how your SQE2 oral exams actually run. If you have SQE exams coming up, this video explains how the exams actually run on the day. This information is mostly widely available, it's just not all in one place, so make sure to save this video for later. I was fortunately in the group that got locked in the building for around 7 hours, so whenever I'm talking about something specific to the 1240 sitting, this banner will appear. And also remember that some things could run slightly different depending on the test centre that you're in. Okay, so first off, what should you wear? The dress code is smart business attire, so I wore a full suit and tie. There's not a hard rule about what specifically to wear, but I would definitely go overly formal. Most people were wearing suits, formal shirts, etc. You definitely don't want to be underdressed because it will only affect your confidence and it could also affect your client's confidence in the interview. So if in doubt, just go for the more formal option. Okay, so now onto the actual day, your reporting time. The oral exams are not like the written exams for SQE2. You have a reporting time and not really any information about what time you should actually get to the assessment centre. You don't need to be at the assessment centre an hour before your reporting time like you did need to for the written exams. What happens is everyone turns up and queues outside the assessment centre and then they're kind of let in batches through the queue. I'd still say aim for at least 20 minutes early to give yourself enough time to get there, and also you don't want to miss the reporting time. So definitely aim for before the reporting time to arrive, especially if train strikes could affect your journey. On entry into the building, the staff will take you to sign in. Remember your IDs. It's unclear whether you need 2 forms again. It might be on the website, I'm not exactly sure, but I think you probably do need both, so just take both. Once you're all signed in and registered, you actually don't need your IDs again. You don't need to keep them on you at all times like you did for the written exams. They can literally just be put away in your bags. Instead of your IDs, you'll have your name and candidate number on your lanyard, which you have to wear at all times. If you are in the 1240 reporting time, you will then be locked in a room until your assessments start. The SRA website states that the waiting time would be approximately 2.5 hours, but from everyone who took the assessments at my centre, this was very misleading. Our waiting time ended up being much closer to 4 hours of waiting time rather than the 2.5 hours that some people were expecting. Now, this could be something that varies from centre to centre, but the staff did seem confused when we were all surprised that the waiting period was so long. For reference, I was at the centre from about 12:20 and we did not even leave the room to go to our assessments until 4:15, so take from that what you will. During the waiting period, you can't access your phone, watches, AirPods or any electronic devices. They all have to be off and put away. But you are allowed to bring paper-based notes and materials to revise, so flashcards, revision guides, textbooks, everything like that is fine. There's also plenty of space to store your bags when the time comes, so that's not something to worry about. We had a whole room to put our bags in, so that wasn't an issue. So during the waiting time, you can use your materials and talk amongst other candidates and eat like cold food, snacks and drinks, whatever. If you are in the 1240 reporting time, you can bring cold food and drinks into the assessment centre for the waiting period. Bring them. The light refreshments that are provided are light. There is definitely not enough for the amount of time that you're in there for the energy that you're going to need for these exams. Some people were caught out on the first day and did not have any food with them, and you can't leave the building once you're in, even to buy food. So do not forget it under any circumstances. Now the assessments. So obviously in the SQE2 oral sittings, you'll have your advocacy and client interviewing assessments. You should already know the timings for that, but if not, just double check on the SRA website. It has it all listed out for you. Day 1, advocacy is on dispute resolution and client interviewing is on property law, and day 2, advocacy is on criminal and client interviewing is on wills. The order in which you actually take the assessments on each day will depend, but whatever order you get on day 1, you will follow the same order on day 2. So if you had advocacy first on the first day, you'll have it first on the second day. When you're prepping for your orals, you have a seat number on the table. When you finish the prep portion of your orals, you're taken from the prep room to the assessment rooms, and the number of your assessment room is the same number as your desk number. You sit on a chair outside of the assessment room until the invigilator tells you to knock on the door and enter. Don't wait for a response to the knock on the door, literally just knock on the door, push it open and walk in. Remember to be confident on your entrance as it sets the tone for your whole assessment. Also, you are in character from the moment that you enter the room. The assessment starts straight away. There is a clock in every room. Please check it when you walk in. I kept forgetting to do this, so I just had to hope I was always within time. It was digital in my my assessment centre, but I'm not sure if that's the same everywhere. Once you finish the assessment, the client or the judge will come out of character. They'll tell you your candidate number, which you can check off your lanyard, and tell you that the assessment is over. Then you just leave the room and wait outside on that chair to be moved. If you haven't finished your assessment within time, the invigilator will knock on the door, which is your sign to quickly wrap it up. Then they give you quite a short grace period before knocking again. If you haven't left the room by this point, they will eventually just open the door and you have to stop talking immediately if they ever open the door. In between your advocacy and interviewing assessments, you have a 15-minute break. You're taken to a room and you can get some water and you can use the bathroom without it affecting your assessment time. After speaking for that long, your throat is going to be very dry, so make sure to rehydrate. Eventually, the invigilator will take you back to the prep room to prep for your next oral assessment, either the advocacy or the client interview, whichever one you haven't done yet. Finally, once the assessments are over, the invigilator will take you to get your belongings. They're very good at getting you out of the building very quickly, to be fair to them. You just have to hand your lanyard back and it will be given to you again the next day. And that is about everything for the oral sittings. One thing I would say is not to overly stress about how the day is actually going to run. They're very good in my experience from keeping everything on track, and it did take a lot of the anxiety out how well organised everything was. Like I say, a lot of this information is freely available. It's just quite difficult to find. I know I had to email for clarity before sitting the SQE, which is something that you can and should do if you are still concerned about anything, obviously as soon as possible at this stage. Let me know if you have any more questions and follow for more law, SQE and careers content.